Here's a good question from a young lady named Eve in Fort Myers. If I short sale my house, will it interfere with my bankruptcy discharge? Great question. There's a big school of thought out there about short selling a house during the bankruptcy process. You know, in Chapter 7, it's going to last about 6 months, the bankruptcy. But I don't like to short sell houses during the Chapter 7 process until the bankruptcy trustee has made a determination what they want to do with that property. If the bankruptcy trustee, thinks that they can make some money out of it, that's their choice. Because if it's a property that I'm surrendering, meaning I don't want my client paying for and we're not going to pay for anymore, that becomes property of the bankruptcy estate. The bankruptcy trustee controls the bankruptcy estate, so we really can't do anything with that unless the trustee tells us they're abandoning the property. Now, if they don't do anything with it and my client gets a discharge, I'm still probably going to check with the trustee, say, look, granted, we've got our discharge. I just want to make sure that you have no plans for this property. I want it out of my client's name, so I'm thinking about short selling it because they need to get rid of it. Trustee has no problem with that because there's no money coming into the other creditors. It would be different if the property had equity in it. Let's say it's a house in Cape Coral and the house is worth $100,000 and my client's only owe like 90. So we're going to hold out to try to get the $100,000, so we're going to put it up for sale. Now, if the trustee has no interest in it, which normally they would try to sell it themselves and get the money because they would get a percentage of that money and give the rest to the creditors. So a house with equity in it isn't going to sit around too long. A house with no equity and $100,000 upside down, the trustee has no interest in that property. They're not going to make any money by doing anything with it. They're going to spend time and money to get the creditor paid. What good is that? That's not helping the debtor, it's not helping the creditors, and the trustee's not going to waste their time with that. So in those cases, though, once we go through the bankruptcy process, the house still technically is owned by the debtor, my client, and we want it out of our names. So what we'll do is we'll contact a realtor and put the property up for a short sale. Try to get it out of our names as fast as possible. Now, some banks don't want to deal with that. What they'll do is say, wait a minute, if you're in the short sale process or a loan modification process and you file bankruptcy, meaning you're doing it before you file bankruptcy, when the bankruptcy hits and they get notice of it, they're going to go ahead and pull the plug. They're going to say, nope, we're not going to deal with this while you're in the bankruptcy process because they don't want to run afoul of the bankruptcy laws and rules. I get that. I'm okay with that. That's why normally we wait till after. Chapter 13 is different. Chapter 13 is a reorganization which lasts about 3 to 5 years. In that process, once the bankruptcy is filed, if we have a property that we need to get rid of, what I can do is go and say, Judge, I need to short sale this property, and here's what we're going to do. And then I have to go back to the judge with the settlement statement, say, Judge, we have a buyer. The debtor is not going to, it's not going to cost my client any money. We just need to get this property out of our client's name because the homeowners association or the condo association is coming after him. So the judge wants to make sure that there's going to be no harm to the creditors. The debtor's not coming out of pocket any money, that the sale is complete. So I like that because then this way I know that I've gotten the stamp of approval from the bankruptcy court. My client hasn't done anything wrong. They've got the relief that they needed and everything is fine going forward. Beautiful. Everything's good. So yeah. So hopefully that answers your question.